All right, joined now by Liam Coen, former LaSalle All-Stater, UMass quarterback, South Kingstown native. How we doing?
Good, Yanni. How's it going?
Good to see you back in here again. All right, big day, July 11th, your first football camp. You're busy as a assistant wide receiver coach at the Rams, but you got a few weeks back in Rhode Island. So this is a big initiative for you, your first one. What can you tell us about it?
You know, it's the first year I've been able to do something like this. I've always wanted to kind of give back in some way, shape, or form to Rhode Island football. It's something that's really, you know, opened up the avenues for me to be able to put me in this position to be successful and ultimately have the opportunity to coach in the National Football League. If I didn't have Rhode Island high school football, none of this would be possible. So that being said, this is the first year that we'll run the Liam Coen football camp, July 11th. Starting a registration at 8 a.m., you know, ending around 4 p.m. that day. So open from 7th graders to 12th graders, and you know, really going to get some quality coaching in, college football coaches, Division I, II, III, as well as some high school coaches as well. So really looking at a pretty good crowd for for day one of doing it. This is really year one that we're doing this camp for us. So really like to thank a couple of the sponsors, Starkweather and Shepley, DeLuca Event Management, Corey Young over there at Outside the Box has really helped us out. So just want to really thank some of those guys for coming out to help us.
Getting it off the ground for sure.
For sure.
Now, when you look at a guy like Isaiah Truss going to Georgia, Kwity Paye going to Michigan, right now, maybe those guys are aberrations, but Rhode Island high school football is seeing more excitement right now. How is it that getting these kids eyeballs and proper teaching going to enable them to maybe follow in the footsteps of those guys?
You know, I think Rhode Island high school football right now is at probably a pinnacle that it's been in a long time. I mean, having guys like Xavier Truss, like you mentioned, and Kwity Paye, a couple of years ago, Lee Moses, and Avian Pia, who I recruited to go to UMass. I mean, that's 4 years in a row of FBS signees. And that probably hadn't happened ever in a long time. I mean, there was an era of time of football when I played, and Will Blackman, Lorenzo Perry, Jamie Silva, Steve Silva before that. We weren't all going FBS, and Will and Jamie did it, obviously, and to have the success that these guys have had the last 4 years, I really believe that Rhode Island high school football is on the rise, and these guys are really putting on for the state.
So what will you tell kids about like your experience at LaSalle over a decade ago, but maybe a kid who's not going to go to LaSalle or a Hendricken and is going to the local high school? How do they get better? What can they do to get to that level?
Ultimately, if you're good enough, they'll find you. I mean, that's really, at the end of the day, if they're good enough, they'll find you. And I talked to Hendricken last night, I talked to LaSalle last night, and I spoke to Cumberland High School on Monday night. The bottom line is, if you do the things off the field, that'll put you in a position to be successful. That means be a great person, handle your academics, because that's the biggest thing that we look at as a college recruiter, and are successful on the field as a student athlete at your high school. You're going to be found. It does not matter if you're at Cumberland, if you're at Shea, if you're at Central, if you're at Moses Brown, if you're at LaSalle, Hendricken. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. If you're good enough, they'll find you. It's their job as a recruiter to find you, and then that'll open up avenues for you to go play college. And again, it doesn't matter if you play Division I football at Georgia or Division III football at Salve. If you're good enough, we'll find you. And it all kind of trickles down.
You've seen that much more in the NFL nowadays. All right, tell us about your new job with the LA Rams, a talented team, made the playoffs last year. What has the biggest difference been, with all due respect to Maine, URI, Brown, places you've coached at before, the NFL level?
I think just the professionalism of it all. Obviously, it's the pros, and that's a very general term, but just the time that we have with these guys, the time that they put in and they're able to put in is different. You know, these guys that I've coached at Maine and Massachusetts, like you said, when they're not at the office, they're doing schoolwork, or they're doing community service. They're doing some things that have to do with their education in some way, shape, or form. These guys, when they're out of the office, they go home and they work on it, and they work on their craft, and they study, and they do all the things that are necessary for them to learn. A guy like Brandon Cooks, I've never been around somebody like that, that's special, that learned our system within 2 weeks of being there. And it's not an easy system to learn.
Right.
He picked it up in about 2 weeks of being there. And that's a testament just to his professionalism and the work ethic that they have.
I wanted to ask you about Cooks. Are Patriot fans going to regret having him leave? What's he going to do with you guys this year?
I got to believe that Brandon Cooks is going to be a special player for us this year.
Pro Bowl caliber?
I think he absolutely has the potential to, and we have the system that will really fit his skill set, and it's a nice fit for us right now with his ability to stretch the field vertically and to really get down the field for us. We have a lot of really nice play action schemes that really marry off of our run game that I think will really suit his skill set for us this year.
Do you want to tell any of the viewers how bad I am at golf Saturday?
I'm the one that let us down this past week in our six tournament there.
But that,
so
was that an eagle chip you had?
I did have an eagle chip.
That was pretty impressive.
It was good.
And I almost took your head off with that one on the drive. So we had fun.
We had a good time.
All right, Liam, thanks so much for coming in. Good luck with the Rams and everyone. Again, the camp July 11th, 8 to 4 p.m. And for much more, go to our website, WPRI.com. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Yianni.